Hello there everyone, it's Aidan here from Push Square, and as the majority of 2024 is steadily behind us, I have started thinking a lot about what's to come in the next year, because you know we gamers, we always need something to look forward to. And let me tell you, there is plenty to look forward to on PS5 in the next year. I have 38 of the biggest games coming to PS5 in 2025, so let's break it down. Koei Tecmo is kicking off 2025 with Dynasty Warriors Origins, a new entry in the series with an original protagonist partaking in the Three Kingdoms tale, meaning you will meet many famous and infamous warriors from that era. Your character is a travelling martial artist with amnesia, and you'll be taking part in many battles across a continental map. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is what happens if you take a medieval setting, make it pretty grounded and realistic, and don't have any fantasy elements. It's actually kind of refreshing for me to not have any fantasy aspects here. It's part of why I'm actually tempted to check this game out when it drops next year. The ever popular strategy series Civilization is making its return with Civilization 7. In it, you'll rule as one of the many legendary leaders throughout history, shaping your civilization's future as you advance your empire. There will be a new Ages feature and a new art style, with the developers aiming to make it the ultimate historical strategy game. A big 2024 game pushed back into 2025 rather late in the game as well. Assassin's Creed Shadows is finally taking fans of the series to the setting they've always wanted: feudal Japan. With two protagonists, the stealthy Naue and the powerful Yasuke, this is aiming to be the most immersive Assassin's Creed yet, with another RPG take on the series with a similar size to AC Origins. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think there's a lot riding on it for Ubisoft, hence the delay. The original developers of the Life is Strange series, Don't Nod, is making its return to the kind of narrative experience it became famous for. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage is kinda like a Stephen King It situation, with a group of friends telling the one story across two timelines, the 90s and the present day. Something spooky is going on, looks like it could be alien related, who knows, but it has me intrigued. This will be released across the first half of 2025 in an episodic structure. I'm not even going to pretend that I understand the through line of these games, but here you have it: Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It looks like a Black Flag game with that Yakuza spice. There are boat battles here, both controlling your hulking ship and boarding and engaging in that typical Yakuza combat. This looks weird and wonderful, and everyone I know that's into Yakuza seems to be very excited for this one. The Monster Hunter series went into the stratosphere with 2018's World, but Capcom is ready to take things even further with Monster Hunter Wilds. The scale of this game is off the charts. It's utterly preposterous, and it really looks like it's throwing everything it can at the PS5 with dynamic and evolving environments. It looks brilliant. The 2 Point series has become a hallmark of the simulator management genre, and it's about to make its next outing in 2025. 2 Point Museum puts you in the role of a curator, where you'll send off some of your team to uncover ancient artifacts to fill up your exhibitions, and then you have to maintain and refine your showcases to conjure up the ultimate experience for your guests, whilst protecting its content from thieves and the grubby hands of children. What if Fallout was British? That's really the core premise of Atomfall. A nuclear disaster has left Britain in tatters, leaving you to explore, scavenge, craft, barter and fight your way through its version of the post-apocalypse. But this isn't full Fallout with grim-looking landscapes. There's a degree of beauty to Atomfall and a bit of mystery mixed in there too, to drive you through its maps every nook and cranny. The big Xbox exclusive Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is actually making its way to PS5 just a wee bit later in 2025. From the developers of the Wolfenstein games, Indiana Jones is a first-person action adventure that aims to capture the look, feel and tone of the classic indie adventures, with the likeness of Harrison Ford but Troy Baker is voicing it here. I'm a little at odds with the first person choice for this game, but the Wolfenstein games are great, and from the cinematics, it certainly captured the feel of those films. One of the flashiest looking games on the list, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, is a brand new fantasy turn-based RPG with real-time elements. You are Expedition 33, who are on a quest to destroy the Paintress, an ominous figure that paints a number each year, and anyone that age turns to smoke and fades away. The English voice cast is absolutely stacked as well, with Ben Starr, Andy Serkis, Charlie Cox, Jennifer English, Kirsty Ryder, and Shala Nix. If you want a big, open world adventure, then you need not look any further than Crimson Desert. Venture across its war-torn continent, which is just stuffed full of all kinds of horrid monsters in both the mythical beast and maniacal ruler variety. The combat looks really cool actually. It seems kinda difficult, it seems actually quite combo based with shields, swords, kicks and dodges, and it's all wrapped up with a pretty grounded aesthetic which I think mixes quite well. Set in modern day Seattle, the latest in the Vampire the Masquerade saga, Bloodlines 2, sees you as an elder vampire, and it's up to you to make allies, meet the most powerful characters, and ultimately decide who will rule the city and what will become of it. There's plenty of options here for combat as well, and gameplay approaches, so you can live out that vampire fantasy. Greedfall 2 The Dying World sends you back into the world from the first game, but now with a far deeper RPG experience. As a new character, you will explore a continent full of dangers, engaging in battles, making alliances, and there's a tiny wee bit of scheming in there too. This is already out on PC in early access, but it's making its way to PS5 in 2025. Hideo Kojima is going off the rails with this highly anticipated sequel, Death Stranding 2 on the beach. The first game was weird and wonderful, and this looks to be even weirder and wonderfuller. But yeah, from what we've seen, there's Troy Baker rocking an electric guitar that literally sparks electricity out at enemies, there's a talking puppet guy, and plenty of A-listers shoved in there, like George Miller, the director of the Mad Max series, the returning Léa Seydoux, Norman Reedus, and newcomer Elle Fanning. The latest entry in the Doom series is going back in time, whereas the Doomslayer you will rip and tear across a medieval setting, rocking an awesome looking fur cloak and a throwable shield. This is supposedly focusing a bit more on the classic boots on the ground approach to gameplay over Doom Eternal's more vertical jumping around, and yeah, it looks great. These games have always somehow escaped me, but the gameplay for Little Nightmares 3 has me quite keen to check the series out. Little Nightmares 3 is a minuscule horror platformer, whereas Low and Alone, you must work together to survive and escape a world of delusions. And it's the first time in the series that it's allowing you to play together in online co-op, which is a neat addition. This manic shooter is back and bloodier than ever. In Killing Floor 3, you are Nightfall, a rebel group in the last hope for humanity as you fight off hordes of Zeds, bioengineered by this evil company. On top of an assortment of Zed mulching weaponry, you will choose specialists who have their own perk archetypes, progressions, and weapon selection. Basically, the progression system has been quite widely expanded in this sequel, with a bunch of other new additions like an operational budget system and selectable tools. Hot off the heels of its brilliant remake of Silent Hill 2, Bloober Team Surprised announced its next game, Cronos: The New Dawn. This is a brand new IP, a third-person sci-fi horror with grotesque enemies, which are very Dead Space, and a cosmonaut-looking protagonist. There are some disturbing story aspects going on here, which I can't wait to get into. This is very much my kind of thing. Speaking about my kind of thing, another recent announcement is FBC Firebreak. This is a 3-player co-op first-person shooter from Remedy Entertainment, the folks behind Control and Alan Wake 2. I actually saw someone describe this as Left 4 Dead set in the oldest house, which of course this is set in the Remedy-verse, and I think that's the perfect selling point for me. It's not traditionally what we expect from Remedy, but I have a feeling we could have something unique in the way that only Remedy could do. And as a wee extra, this is coming to PS Plus Extra day one. Dune Awakening has been on my radar for quite some time now, and we know that the game is coming to PC in early 2025. We've got no confirmed release date as of yet, so I've got my fingers crossed for this one. But anyway, this is an open world survival MMO set on Arrakis. However, the spin here is that Paul Atreides was never born, and the war of assassins between House Atreides and Harkonnen rages on. You'll then face the deadly planet itself, whilst trying to build up your great house, and you can even control the flow of space if that's what you fancy. A lovely wee surprise when this one was announced, Mafia the Old Country is seemingly taking the series back to its roots in a way, with a story based around the brutal underworld of Sicily in the early 1900s. Mafia 2 was one of my hallmark teenage games. I absolutely loved it, and I was quite disappointed with Mafia 3, so fingers crossed this is back to the good old days of the series. Splitgate 2 is making its debut in 2025, bringing with it its revamped take on the Portal meets Halo shooter. I really liked the original game, but I did feel like it needed a bit more time in the oven, so hopefully that's what we have here, and it's clearly got a bigger budget now. I'm not super sold on all of the changes that I've heard about, like being a bit more hero shooter in places, but I'm still very keen to check it out. Hell Is Us is shaping up to be a brutal sort of experience. Its developer Rogue Factor were keen to emphasise that this is not a Souls-like despite its melee-based combat, but the big selling point here is that it wants you to figure things out on your own. There are no waypoints or maps or guides, meaning you really do need to pay attention to the world around you and what people you encounter have to say about it. It's a pretty cool idea. I'm not sure how well it will come across when you're actually playing it, especially if there's a bit of a gap between when you last played it, whatever, but yeah, it piqued my interest a little. Another recent announcement, WUCHANG Fallen Feathers is another Souls-like from a Chinese developer with incredibly good looking graphics and gorgeous enemy designs. I'm keen to see how this one stands out from the crowd, because while aesthetically pleasing, I didn't see too much that would differentiate it from something like Black Myth Wukong, for example. But set in the Ming Dynasty era, there's certainly plenty to pull from there. I completely forgot that this game existed until I was making up this list, but Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra has some real potential. This is a single-player narrative experience spearheaded by Amy Hennig, formerly known for her work on the Uncharted series. In it, Captain America and Azuri, the Black Panther of the 40s, make an uneasy alliance to confront a common enemy. We haven't seen any proper gameplay yet, but the cinematics look gorgeous. I was really hoping this one would have dropped in 2024, especially since it was supposed to release in 2023, but it looks like Arc Raiders is making its way to PS5 in 2025. This is from Embark Studios, the team behind my new favourite shooter, The Finals, with this one being a little bit different though. It's a third-person extraction shooter, a bit of a tougher genre, not just to nail but to find an audience for, but after The Finals, I'm willing to check out anything that Embark throws my way. Gearbox is ramping up production on yet another Borderlands game. I have never been one for these games in all honesty, but all of my mates that like them seem to really like them. I certainly remember the golden era of gaming at friends' houses, and Borderlands 2 was in constant rotation. Hopefully that means we have another solid looter shooter on our hands when Borderlands 4 releases in 2025. Easily the biggest game of the year, Grand Theft Auto 6 has felt like the longest wait for a sequel ever. I was 16 years old when the first game dropped. I'm going to be 29 by the time the new one comes out. But if we know anything about Rockstar when it comes to its new mainline games, it just does not miss. I mean, people are still playing GTA 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is easily still one of the best games of the last decade. I cannot wait. Ghost of Yotei is the big PS5 exclusive of 2025, introducing players to a new protagonist in a new time setting and new island. Now, I know a lot of people wanted to see Jin's story continue. I personally thought it wrapped up quite well in the first game, but I do think long term, making this an anthology series of sorts is really exciting. We're jumping a few hundred years ahead of time, which means we can easily introduce new mechanics in a vastly different setting. It looks so epic, and after a solid first outing, I can't wait to see how Sucker Punch improves the Ghost experience with Ghost of Yotei. So there you have it, 30 different games coming to PS5 in 2025. Let me know the ones you are most excited for down in the comments below, and maybe some of the ones that I left out here today as well. Either way, thank you for watching, and until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.